The Capitol had never felt so tense. Cameras flashed, reporters whispered, and tension buzzed through the marble halls like static electricity. It all started with a heated exchange that no one saw coming, a confrontation between Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator John Kennedy that would leave everyone in the room stunned, and eventually, inspired. That morning began like any other in Washington. A high-profile committee hearing on economic reform was underway, with politicians from both sides of the aisle gathered to debate a new bill aimed at addressing the rising cost of living. The air was heavy with partisanship, but no one expected emotions to flare the way they did when AOC took the floor. AOC, known for her fiery passion and unapologetic defense of working-class Americans, spoke with conviction about income inequality, corporate greed, and the struggles of ordinary families. Her words cut through the noise, drawing murmurs of approval from some and sharp glares from others. Among those listening was Senator John Kennedy, the Louisiana lawmaker known for his folksy wit and blunt remarks. When it was his turn to respond, Kennedy leaned into his microphone with that familiar drawl. "Congresswoman," he said, "I admire your heart, but your math is about as fuzzy as a peach." The room erupted with laughter from one side and groans from the other. AOC didn't smile. Her eyes narrowed. "Senator," she shot back, "I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to fight for the people who can't afford to laugh." The tension was palpable. Kennedy, undeterred, stood up and tried to make another point, but the exchange had spiraled. Voices rose. Committee chairs banged their gavels. AOC, visibly frustrated, turned to the security officers and said sharply, "Can someone please remove him if he's going to keep interrupting?" Gasps filled the chamber. Cameras zoomed in. For a split second, no one knew what would happen next. Then, in a move that surprised everyone, John Kennedy didn't argue, shout, or resist. He simply gathered his papers, nodded politely, and began to walk toward the exit. But just before he reached the door, he turned around. "You know what?" he said softly, his tone shifting from sarcasm to sincerity. "Maybe we both care more than we know how to show." The room went silent. Even AOC froze for a moment. Kennedy continued, "You fight with passion because you see pain. I fight with skepticism because I've seen promises break. Maybe if we spent less time shouting and more time listening, we could actually help the folks out there who are watching this circus." His words landed like a hammer, rang not of anger, but of truth. AOC lowered her gaze, then slowly nodded. The gavel came down again, and for once, there was no noise, no partisan cheering, no media frenzy, just the rare, heavy silence of reflection. Later that afternoon, in a hallway crowded with reporters, AOC was asked about the moment. She paused before answering, her voice softer than usual. "I don't regret standing up for what I believe in," she said, "but I do believe we can be strong without being cruel." What Senator Kennedy broke and bar, it reminded me that leadership isn't just about speaking, it's about hearing, too. That evening, Kennedy gave a brief interview as well. "She's got fire," he said with a grin. "Maybe I've got too much vinegar, but at least we're both trying." The story spread like wildfire online, clips of the confrontation racking up millions of views. But it wasn't the shouting that captured people's hearts, it was the ending. Two politicians on opposite ends of America's great divide had shown something rare, humility. In the days that followed, the two reportedly exchanged private messages, agreeing to collaborate on a bipartisan community outreach initiative, a small, quiet work far from the cameras. It wasn't a grand gesture, but it was a start, and that's what made it powerful. Because in a time when shouting matches get the headlines and unity feels impossible, one heated moment turned into something unexpected, a reminder that even in Washington's loudest rooms, empathy still has a place. By the end of the week, both AOC and Kennedy had become symbols of something the country desperately needed, not agreement, but understanding. And maybe that's the real story here, not who was right, or who walked out, but who was willing to walk back in. Because in the heart of all the chaos, when anger finally faded and the cameras stopped rolling, two very different voices remembered that they were still speaking for the same people as the ones outside those marble halls, hoping someone up there might finally start listening.